Hey everyone, welcome back to Hollywood Task, the place where we dig deep into the drama, secrets, and unraveling of the Brown family empire. What we're talking about today isn't just another family argument or rumor. This is about how everything the Browns built, every move, every manipulation, every faith-based excuse, has led them to this breaking point. We all watched the illusion fall apart in slow motion. The move to Flagstaff, the endless financial strain, the tension between wives that used to smile for the cameras. But what if I told you the collapse wasn't accidental? That it was the inevitable outcome of Kody Brown's obsession with control, money, and legacy, and the network's desperate attempt to keep the circus alive just long enough to cash in one more season? It's not just about love or faith anymore. It's about power. Kody built his entire world on the idea that he could balance 4 wives, dozens of kids, and a TV empire, all while keeping himself at the center. For years, TLC made him the face of plural marriage, the charming patriarch who could juggle chaos with a grin. But behind that grin was a man terrified of losing relevance, terrified that without cameras rolling, he'd just be another middle-aged dad in debt and denial. The first cracks showed when Christine started speaking her truth. She stopped playing her assigned role, the cheerful, obedient wife. Her courage to walk away wasn't just rebellion, it was liberation. And it scared Kody because for the first time, his authority didn't mean anything. Then Janelle stood her ground. She refused to kick her sons out during the pandemic, refused to live by rules made to control, not protect. Kody saw it as betrayal. The audience saw it as bravery. Robyn, meanwhile, positioned herself perfectly. She became the compliant partner Kody always wanted, loyal, isolated, and entirely dependent on him. Together, they retreated into their own echo chamber, rewriting history and blaming everyone else for their downfall. But what they didn't realize was that the more they clung to control, the faster everything else slipped away. Money dried up. The land on Coyote Pass turned from a dream into a battlefield. Each wife's name, each signature on those deeds became a weapon. What was supposed to symbolize unity became proof of division. The irony? Kody always claimed he was building for the family's future, but that land now represents the gravesite of the Brown legacy. TLC kept filming because chaos sells. They knew the audience wasn't tuning in for plural harmony anymore. They were watching a slow-motion implosion, a real-time collapse of faith, ego, and family. Every fight, every tear, every awkward silence over dinner was gold to producers and devastating to everyone else. But here's the truth that doesn't make it to the confessionals. Kody's control was never about love or even religion. It was about ownership. He treated emotional loyalty like a contract and affection like currency. And now those contracts are void. His wives, his kids, even the audience have all stopped believing in the myth of Kody Brown. When you strip away the showbiz and the spiritual excuses, what's left is a man facing the ruins of his own creation. The empire he built on faith and family is now a cautionary tale about ego and control. Christine's happiness without him, Janelle's independence, even Mary's quiet exit, they're not betrayals. They're proof that sometimes breaking away is the only way to survive. And that's the real story of Sister Wives. Not just a family falling apart, but a system collapsing under the weight of its own hypocrisy. What we're witnessing isn't just reality TV, it's a reckoning. A final chapter in a saga that started with love and ended with ownership, resentment, and regret. So the question now isn't whether the Browns can heal. It's whether Kody can ever face the truth, that the world moved on and he didn't. Your go-to place for the deepest dives into the Brown family saga. What we're talking about today isn't just another chapter in the ongoing drama. It's the unraveling of everything the Browns have built. The marriages, the money, the faith, and the illusion of unity that's been holding their story together for over a decade. We've all watched the cracks form in real time. The move to Flagstaff. The constant fighting. The financial chaos that no one wanted to admit existed. On the surface, it looked like a family simply struggling with change. But the truth runs deeper. What if this wasn't just a case of love gone wrong, but the result of one man's obsession with control and a network's hunger to keep the chaos going for one more season? For years, Kody Brown sold the idea that he could do the impossible, balance 4 marriages, raise 18 kids, and keep a spiritual household running like a business. He told us it was about love and faith, but underneath it all, it was about power. Kody needed to be the center of everything. The leader, the provider, the one everyone depended on. The show made him larger than life. TLC turned his polygamous lifestyle into a brand. Sister Wives wasn't just a show. It was an empire. But behind that smile, Kody was terrified. Because deep down, he knew that without the cameras, without the fame, without the paycheck, he might not be able to keep any of it together. And then came the breaking point. Christine stopped playing along. She stopped smiling through the pain. She stopped pretending that being ignored and undervalued was part of her spiritual journey. Her choice to walk away wasn't impulsive, it was inevitable. It shattered the illusion that Kody had control over his family. For the first time, the world saw him not as a leader, but as a man unraveling in real time. Christine's departure sent shockwaves through the entire family. It showed the others that leaving wasn't betrayal, it was freedom. And that realization was something Kody couldn't handle. Janelle saw the same cracks Christine did, but her battle with Kody played out differently. She wasn't loud or emotional, she was practical. For years, she carried the financial weight of that family while Kody and Robyn built dreams on credit and promises. Janelle was the one planning, saving, and trying to make something real out of all those empty words about family land. When she refused to kick her adult sons out during the pandemic, it wasn't about rebellion. It was about love, about being a mother first and a follower second. But in Kody's world, independence equals defiance. That was the beginning of the end for them. Their arguments weren't just about money or property, they were about respect. Kody saw Janelle's independence as a personal attack. She saw it as survival. When she chose to live in the RV on Coyote Pass, she was making a statement. She didn't need him. And for a man who built his identity around being needed, that was devastating. While Janelle and Christine were finding their freedom, Robyn was digging in deeper. She became Kody's world, his last remaining believer. She echoed his words, defended his anger, and played the part of the loyal wife. To Kody, that loyalty was love. But to everyone watching, it was dependence. The more they clung to each other, the more isolated they became. Behind closed doors, Kody and Robyn started rewriting history. They blamed everyone else, the ex-wives, the kids, even the show, for the mess that was entirely of their own making. What they didn't realize was that every episode, every confession, was showing the audience the truth they were trying to hide. The land on Coyote Pass, once sold as a dream for the whole family, became a symbol of everything that went wrong. The paperwork, the deeds, the LLCs, they weren't just legal documents. They were proof of division. What was supposed to unite the family became a battlefield over who owned what and who got left behind. And through it all, TLC kept the cameras rolling. Because let's be honest, this wasn't a love story anymore. It was a tragedy in real time, and tragedy sells. As the family fractured, TLC saw opportunity. Every tear, every argument, every slammed door became footage. What was once a story about unity had turned into a slow-motion implosion, and the network wasn't about to look away. The ratings were rising with every fight. The more broken the Browns became, the more valuable their pain was. The show that started as a testament to faith and plural love had transformed into a case study in ego, resentment, and financial disaster. Behind the scenes, production teams whispered that Kody was impossible to manage. He wasn't the confident patriarch anymore. He was defensive, paranoid, obsessed with how he looked on camera. Every wife who left became the villain in his narrative. Christine was ungrateful. Janelle was disrespectful. Mary was disloyal. Everyone was to blame and except him. But the audience saw through it. They could tell this wasn't about betrayal. It was about Kody losing the one thing he cared about most: control. TLC didn't step in to help. Why would they? The downfall was ratings gold. They let the Browns crumble on screen, carefully editing every episode to keep the tension high and the sympathy low. The network didn't need to create drama. They just had to capture it. And Kody, desperate to protect his image, gave them everything they needed. By the time the cameras stopped rolling for the season, the damage was permanent. Coyote Pass had become a symbol of empty promises, the so-called family dream reduced to dirt, debt, and distrust. What was once supposed to unite the family had become the graveyard of their unity. And yet, through it all, Kody still refused to see the truth. He convinced himself that the wives who left were wrong, that the kids who questioned him were ungrateful, that the audience just didn't understand. He kept talking about loyalty, about respect, about faith, but none of it was real anymore. It was just noise. The man who once preached about spiritual leadership had turned into a cautionary tale about pride. He couldn't lead because he couldn't listen. He couldn't love because he couldn't share control. And now, he's standing in the ruins of everything he claimed to build, surrounded by silence, resentment, and cameras. Now, the story has come full circle. The empire Kody built, the show, the marriages, the dream of one big united family, has crumbled. What's left isn't a man of faith or a leader of love. It's someone standing alone, clinging to the last fragments of a life that no longer exists. Christine moved on. She found joy, independence, and peace in a life free from control. Janelle learned she could survive without his approval, without the shared accounts, without the constant tension. Even Mary, after years of emotional neglect, finally chose herself. Each woman Kody once claimed as part of his legacy walked away stronger, while he stayed behind, angry and confused, still trying to rewrite the story in his favor. But there's no rewriting the truth. The wives found freedom in the truth, and the audience saw through the facade. Kody can't hide behind religion or editing anymore. The image he worked so hard to control has been shattered. Not by the network, not by his ex-wives, but by his own actions. Robyn, once the favorite, now sits in the same silence Kody created. The loyalty that once made her safe now feels like a cage. Their shared world, built on the idea that everyone else was wrong, has become small and heavy. The dream they protected has turned into isolation. TLC will keep milking the story for as long as they can. They'll call it closure, rebuilding, or the next chapter. But the truth is, there's no rebuilding what never had a real foundation. What we're watching now isn't a love story or even a family story, it's a reckoning. Kody Brown built his identity on being the head of a plural family, the man who could make it all work when no one else could. But power without empathy always collapses. And that's exactly what happened. The women walked away with their dignity. Kody is left with the land he can't afford, a house full of ghosts, and a reputation he can't repair. And maybe that's the real lesson of Sister Wives, that love can't survive control, that family can't be built on ego, and that no amount of TV money can buy peace. The wives found it by leaving. Kody lost it by refusing to change. So as the credits roll on this story, we're not watching a man lose his family. We're watching a family finally free itself from the man who never really understood what family meant.